Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time for the grand finals of ESL One New York. We are live from the Madison Square Garden Theater, and over the last day and a half, we have had nothing but great games from the 8 teams that qualified for this event. Now, we started out with 8, but now we're down to just 2. Every single team that qualified from the EU region has been eliminated. And now we stand with only China versus the United States. There's over $100,000 on the line, and of course, bragging rights, and the ESL One trophy, which stands beside me. So I have just one question. Are you ready for the ESL One Grand Finals? Let's introduce our teams. Now, I could probably say some really nice things about this team, but I feel like there's a better way to usher them into the stage. And I feel like you already know what you need to chant. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome your first grand finalist, Evil Geniuses! Their opponents, they beat the best team in China. They unlocked and deciphered Team Secret. Give a warm welcome to Vici Gaming! Ladies and gentlemen, we're moments away from the grand finals. One more round of applause for these two teams. The fight that they have given us over the course of this weekend. Let's hear it for them one last time. And let's send it over to the T-Mobile Analyst desk to hear what they have to say about this ESL One Grand Finals. Gentlemen.
Okay, not sure.
Interesting.
Weird?
No.
No, I think you're just a great host.
Yeah? Okay. I'm just, what was that all about? What were they swapping? Why are they swapping?
It's customary.
Right.
Yeah.
Customary in the US?
Happens in every Dota tournament.
Right. Oh, it's a Dota custom.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not aware of this.
We all know about it.
Ah, that's why then. You swap a player in the final?
Absolutely.
This sounds fantastic.
It really is.
We should roll this out to main sports.
I agree.
Brilliant idea. I love this. On a slightly more serious note, you can, of course, vote for your MVP. And if you haven't done so already, head over to facebook.com/ESLTV right now and vote for your player, for your MVP of ESL One New York. There is a list of players on there. Pick one and only one. And it can't be Milk, unfortunately. And we'll announce the winners at the end of the show. The grand final is moments away. Before we get there, though, we're going to catch up with Vici Gaming, in particular with a man called Black, and get his impressions of what he thinks of New York City.
They've got the kill easily. A double kill for Black. He jumps in deep. A triple kill, bringing down Big Fat Daddy. And GG, Vici Gaming will be our first team to go into the ESL One New York Grand Final.
Being here in New York and playing on the stage is really, really awesome because you can see so many people when you play. You can hear their screams and cheers. So it's just really, really amazing. The first game versus Na'Vi, we had 2 games where we played really well and won pretty easily. But in one game we played really sloppy and we gave them too many kills. We fed them really hard and then we just lost. The semifinals were pretty easy because we got the draft that we wanted in both games. No other team ever gave that to us before. So we're actually really confident from the get-go. And then on top of that, all the players just played really, really well today. I wouldn't say we are the strongest team, so it's definitely going to be a very hard fight, no matter what team we face. I think we are ready, I'm ready, the team is ready, and the grand final can come.
Well, they're ready. They're absolutely ready, and they played an absolute stomping semi-final. and that obviously has given them a little bit of a lift as well. Their confidence is high, and there's some form here as well. I know it's not exactly the same team. It was a different team completely, actually, but we've only ever had a Chinese team win ESL One.
Yeah,
I know this is only the second one, so bear with me here, but I'm just trying. And they are another Chinese team in the main.
Last year in this similar tournament, although of smaller magnitude, EMS won. Vici Gaming actually won back in December, I believe. So 2 of the players, FY and Fenrir, has been in this situation before. And of course, EG's been here before. Last time it didn't really pan out the way they wanted to. I believe one of the games
was really painful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're definitely looking to change that around.
What do you guys assess? How do you assess VG over the last 2 days of what you've seen? Both the good and the bad.
It feels, I mean, it's not the biggest scope of games, but it feels like they've been building up momentum, and today against Secret, they just looked unstoppable.
Yeah, you heard in the interview, Black said he got the right draft. That's not the only thing they got right, though, was it, Ben?
I mean, everyone's just been playing amazingly, and this team is just highly individually talented, and we have ISSI's playing ROTK and Black, who had big shoes to fill in replacing Siler, but I mean, I'm very surprised with how well both of them have been meshing with the team. And usually it takes like, a couple of months for teams, especially an international team, to mesh together this well.
Okay, what do you think, sir?
I haven't seen Black do a big mistake. Like, I can't recall a really big mistake from him, or even a slight, a small mistake actually. He's been so good during the whole tournament, and FY stepped up his game. We said today really he looks more like the old FY.
Yeah.
As for Fenrir, Super, and Ice, they've been incredibly strong.
Cosmetically, Pyrian, where would you rate VG?
Well, I'd like to speak analytically, just quickly.
Oh, really?
I think if you look at Black, I've always thought he was a great player, and most people understand that he's a wonderful farmer, he's a great player. I think he's in a team where he can rely on his teammates to such a degree that he feels comfortable. And if he's playing really, really well, part of that is knowing that he's got players around him who are just going to absolutely deliver the goods.
I had a funny story about Black. One game I was casting him, and I think it was on Old Mouse. He was Phantom Lancer, and oftentimes they just had to play 4 Protect 1 because that was the only way they could win. But there was this big team fight. He had drums and treads or something. It was still pretty early in the game, and it goes on for a minute. And they eventually come out on top. I think he's the only one living. And then he goes to neutral creeps. He doesn't use his drums during the whole entire fight, and then he uses his drums on neutrals. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that was on purpose too. But I was like, man, this guy really wants his GPM.
Yeah, trolling his own teammates maybe. We are going to move on and talk about Evil Geniuses as well. Evil Geniuses had a man return. Of course, they were in the final at ESL One in Frankfurt, but they had a man missing, and that man was very important to the team. He's now back with the team, of course. Let's find out what his impressions are of playing in front of a home crowd.
Can he actually get an additional kill? Goes in, wins the right-click man fight up against a Bat Rider. Now RTZ comes in. Eternal Envy delays the inevitable as GG is called, and Evil Geniuses will be the second team moving on to the finals.
It's not often we get to play in American territory. We are an American team after all, other than the international. So we're really stoked to be here. We have a lot of American fans as well. So being able to play here is definitely an advantage for us. We love playing in front of American crowds. They go crazy for us, so it's a lot of fun. I think right now we've been playing a little sloppy. I mean, on Dire we've been having some problems as well, but I think we can win this for sure. I think we're definitely capable, but it's going to be a tough one, I think.
Fear says it's going to be a tough one. I don't think we learned anything more than we already knew from that comment. We knew it's going to be a tough one. When you look at the way that they've played in the semi-finals and the finals yesterday, what do you rate as the better one? Was it the better victory against Alliance with the way that they played, or do you think actually today's was a better result, even though they got stomped in game 2?
I think they're very even.
Yeah?
I feel like the EG yesterday barely pulled through in one of the games, and then of course did a very remarkable win in the last one. So it feels to me as if in the third game, when it's the deciding and it's the back against the wall, they just deliver. And okay. I think they're gonna carry this into this game as well.
The thing with EG is that when you face them, first of all, you gotta try to be even with the draft. If you get outpicked, like we saw Alliance in Game 3, the game's over from the get-go. You need to be really careful with your drafting. So that's the first big challenge for Vici Gaming, to get a good draft versus EG, and then the game can start. Yeah. I mean, we've seen EG had a bad draft once out of 6 games, right? So it's okay. It happens. You know, it won't happen again. I'm pretty sure PPD will make sure that never happens again. But still, I think they will have really solid draft.
Okay, Ben, what are your thoughts on EG?
They seem to have unusual strats and unusual ways to deal with things that are very, very popular. Like Naga Siren's been a bane to many 6.82 games as well as Panda, and they've had ways to deal with it. Usually it's like, oh, Centaur ult and just bounce out, but they have like Overgrowth, they have these like super tanky strategies, they have Repel to just kill Naga while she's sleeping, and I don't know, PBD is just an innovator of solutions rather than strategies.
And there's also one thing, they've been banning like very specific heroes.
Yes,
so if you're EG now, he probably prepared. So will he ban the Sand King from FY, for example? I mean, they probably have something in mind. They banned the Rubik and the Enchantress versus Alliance. They were banning Terrorblade and Draw Ranger versus Cloud9. They probably have something in the bag versus Vici Gaming.
Okay.
I actually think all the bans are fairly obvious going into this matchup. I feel like the 4 bans need to be Terrorblade from EG's end of.
Just going to write this down. TB, yeah.
I'm going to stop you there, because we're going to get to picks and bans in a moment, but I need your predictions, because the players are almost ready to go into the draft. Pyrion, I know you've been legendary at this, and I'm hoping that you stick to your guns in that you choose neither of these teams, so that you don't curse them.
I don't want to curse either of them. I just want a good final.
Perfect.
I want great games, so...
Okay, so we'll put that up on his. There we go.
Get that fence out, baby.
Ben?
I'll say Vici 2-1.
Hang on, wait. That's changed, because didn't you say EG were going to win the whole thing yesterday?
No, I said
he said secret?
Cloud9.
Secret.
So they're both.
So basically all 8 teams.
You'll just get this.
Melk?
I said... Originally I said Vici Gaming, and then I changed to EG.
Oh my goodness, here we go.
I'm going to stick with EG, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to stick with EG.
Yeah, I think you might have to. You may have played for them once or twice before. You might get lynched out of here if you don't support your own team.
It's not related.
Really?
I have no bias.
Okay, Seb?
2-1 EG.
2-1 EG, okay. Well, I said EG from the very get-go, so it's all down to you, Ben, I'm afraid.
I'm the only dissenter.
Yeah, the only dissenter. And Syndrome is 5 out of 6, I understand, in the picks so far. What are you?
I don't know. I got them all right for the quarterfinals.
Right.
We should really get Syndra's prediction on this
Syndrome
one.
can hear us.
He will give us his prediction.
Who do you reckon's going to win it, Synd? EG. He says he's 6 out of 6.
He's 6 out of 6 and EG will win. I don't believe him, frankly. He must have got one wrong somewhere along the line.
Net scores.
Yeah,
let's pull him up on the fact that he didn't get the scores right. That's the little thing that we can give him. Hopefully we'll get back into the draft any moment now for the grand final, but now we can continue on and talk about the draft and some of the picks and bans you expect to see.
You're saying TB banned. Who else?
I lost my train of thought. Death Prophet.
Okay.
SK. From Vici Gaming. Razor.
And Razor. All right, let's see.
Razor from EG.
I haven't said... I don't think Sand King is going to be the first 4 bans.
Okay. Well, you don't have to ban Razor for EG.
I thought you said SK.
You can just pick it, yeah.
No, I didn't say SK.
Okay.
Oh, well.
I said SK.
Right, so here we go. So it's exactly the same 4 that we had in the semi-final between Cloud9 and EG. Exactly the same 4.
Well, the draw ban surprises me.
So it's always the same for EG. There is if Vici Gaming wants to have a chance at winning the game, they have to stop the early push from EG. It's always the same story. They get pushing heroes, they push 4 towers, 5 towers in the first 10 minutes, and nobody stops them.
Has someone told them to hurry up?
No, they just know what they want.
This might be the fastest draft that we've ever had.
I think the first 6 bans and the first 2 picks each tend to be fairly well formed in your mind by now. But
I just have this vision that there's actually a guy just out of shot of the cameras who's,
pressing buttons.
Yeah, he's like,
I wonder what it is EG picked up on after their series against Cloud9 that made them pick the Nature's Prophet over the Brewmaster now. It sort of went from their 3rd, 4th pick priority to suddenly being their first pick priority, which is interesting.
As well as ignoring the
Why do you ban the Draw Ranger versus Vici Gaming?
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering. It makes no sense in my book. Maybe they have seen them scrim something?
Well, maybe they secretly think the hero's overpowered.
But
and
even
they're
if you
waiting
do-
for people to catch on, I don't know.
If you take MP and Visage in your first two, you're not really scared of the opponent taking Barrow.
No, exactly.
So you'd be scared, I guess, maybe if they took it very first pick, but that's very, very unlikely.
It's a really weird ban for sure. Maybe they. I'm not even sure what they're up to. Anyway, they decide to ban the Twin Protector, Vici Gaming. I think it's a very good choice versus EG. You still might have to deal with the Abaddon, but well, I think Skyrus is a very good way to actually deal with it.
Do you think it's worth passing up the Brewmaster?
No.
I don't think so either. Yes, sure.
But
you're playing
I'm
into
sure
this
PPD has a plan for why he lets them have Brewmaster, because there's no way he didn't expect it to happen. He must have seen it coming.
Well, he actually mentioned that he likes Twin Protector versus Brewmaster during the interview, but unfortunately that's a ban.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you watch the last series, you would ban it out.
And you can see Vici Gaming is on to Evil Genius's push lineups, because they ban out the Venomancer that we've seen Fear farm up on. However, they already have the Visits that Fear's also been playing on in the farming position.
They could easily pick Jakiro.
Yeah. That's a second phase Sand King ban. Pretty. I mean, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we've seen FY's Sand King has been incredible. So
everything is fairly reasonable aside from that Drow Ranger.
And giving away Brew.
Yeah.
But they still didn't reveal anything. I mean, they could go for... we haven't seen Zai play this Visage, but he could also play it, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be Fear on a position 1 Visage. Although they use that a lot, so... everything's open right now for EG, and this pick is going to be very important. Okay. It's the second time they get the Witch Doctor versus the Panda, and that's also something PPD said. He was like, we get the Cask versus versus Panda's Ultimate, the Overgrowth,
So you don't have the option to get the Treant right now, and if you're PPD, you have a fondness of playing Treant, Abaddon, and now also Omni Knight. Are you gonna take either Abaddon or Omni Knight, or are you gonna go for something entirely different?
The thing is that before they actually had to pick the Twin Protector, we were calling Spectre for EG as a fourth pick against Cloud9. And Cloud9 just picked Spectre exactly at this point. They got Skyras, Panda, and then they picked Spectre, and we were assessing it was a deny pick. For they wanted to steal it from EG. So I still think that Spectre is a very, very good pick for EG right now. If Vici Gaming doesn't grab it.
I don't know. I think EG can still transition into a push.
I mean, Lycan is still in the book, yeah.
Yeah, they have NP, Visage, and Witch Doctor all offer a decent amount to pushes.
I am pretty sure Vici Gaming knows that EG's main strength is that they get all the first towers uncontested. They just get 4 towers, and then the game is so easy because you get a boost of gold on every hero. They get mech, they get 4 staffs, dagger, whatever they need to actually fight, and then the teams actually decide to fight them. But it's already too late. I mean, Arteezy has the mech, and then the fight is suddenly so hard. So I'm pretty sure Vici Gaming with that Panda and probably an early blink on super mid will be looking to take fights early on, and that's going to slow EG down. So they need to be careful. I don't think going all in push will work. They done this, they have been doing this for like 5 or 6 games. I think it's a trap from Vici. I wouldn't go all in push if I was.
Is it a trap from Vici or is it a trap from EG?
I think it's one from Vici.
Because we discussed what are they going to do versus Brewmaster, and they gave it away, and they clearly could have banned it as opposed to their Drow Ranger.
Okay, so maybe they. Okay, yeah, maybe
we don't know. It could be either way.
What I'm thinking here is that regardless of what's happening, either be it Lycan or Spectre in the EG lineup, I think a Timbersaw here, especially with how Ice has been playing it, is a great pick. I mean, it's terrific against the Nature's Prophet. Visits and Witch Doctor doesn't really offer much to hold it down either, unless you're very lucky with the paralyzing casks.
So here's a question for you. Given that you think they're going to pick Timbersaw, could EG be holding out and picking Doom? Doom here? Would Doom be a reasonable pick?
I just got Analyst cursed.
Well, Doom is still a very good pick for EG.
We haven't seen the touch this tournament though.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, he got nerfed, but
he got banned a couple of times, I think.
If you're confident going into the grand final, you can hang on to that. Just keep it in your...
And it's a Lycan.
Yeah.
Again, it's exactly the same lineup they're drafting. I mean, they don't have the Twin Protector, so let's see what PPD is actually going to grab for himself. But besides
that hero is the most interchangeable hero out of the strat, though, and secondly, Visage.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. And it's, again, Witch Doctor that's going to have a lot of space after Visage actually farmed.
But in the previous lineup, they had a Treant that could really offer up that amount of heal that they desperately needed, and a Bat Rider to shut the enemy down. Now they have a Nature's Prophet instead. It's not quite the same lineup, especially not now that the Treants no longer have the magic reduction.
Well, the thing is that PPD actually drafted the Witch Doctor and the Lycan after the Treant got banned, so he must have something in mind. He's like, whatever, I know what I want to do. I have a replacement pick for the Treant Protector, so you can ban it, I don't mind.
And Vici does not have good anti-push, at least not for the first 20 minutes of the game.
Dragon Knight. That's a very good lockdown versus the Lycan.
It could have been the deny pick, although they could have easily banned it out. I guess, I mean, does Fear play Dragon Knight that much?
Not really. It could be an Arteezy Dragon Knight and then Fear just
I think last pick is either an Omni Knight or an Abaddon for Evil Geniuses. I think it's PPD 0 that we haven't seen yet. I think this Visit's definitely being played by...
I think that Omni Knight might get banned, and Abaddon is a really bad pick, in my opinion, versus Brewmaster and versus Kyra.
Just quickly, FY has DC'd, and this DK is a random, so we're going to do a repick.
Okay, great.
You just got Analyst.
I don't really think that Abaddon or actually Abaddon would be okay, but I don't think Omni Knight would be that great of a pick here.
I do like the way he randomed a hero that we could actually talk about.
Why is not? What's wrong with Omni Knight here?
What's great about him?
How do you lock down the Lycan?
You don't need to lock down the Lycan. I mean, you can't kill me even if you do lock him down.
The thing with Omni Knight is that like all the harass from the Elder Titan and everything, you get healed. I really feel like Omni Knight can do a lot.
It still could be a Necrolite,
like
as we talked about.
Necrolite can be really good as well. I would agree with against an Elder Titan. Not the best hero to get, honestly.
I actually just didn't want to jinx it because whenever I say Necrophos, no one's going for it. So now that you ruined that for me as well.
But EG's very likely to pick it, though. They've used it in the past.
They've used it once or twice.
They've also used Omni Knight.
Yeah,
a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, they could also go for a Korgic hero, although I don't know if that's more up their alley.
I really think that it's very, very risky from EG what they're doing right now. They're just going all in push again, and Vici has been doing nothing but watching EG for the last, 3 hours? I mean, so they know what's going on, and they're not the type of team that you can just surprise push. They know what's going on, so they can just counter you. It's very risky.
What's Black going to play?
I'm not sure, but the Elder Titan is one answer to those 5-man push. It's probably going to be a 4+1.
I'm just going to throw this out there. It's not going to happen, but Juggernaut's Healing Ward is ridiculously strong. He's been buffed in 82. With the playthrough no longer being...
I like it a lot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good call.
It's something Fia and I used to love when we played together.
You should probably...
What about...
Go and mention it to them.
Yeah?
I think you have time.
Yeah, you've got the
What about Lone Druid? Why can't they just use Lone Druid instead?
And it doesn't offer that same feel.
The scythe.
It's not as cool.
It needs to heal.
That's cool.
No.
The heal?
Yeah.
I want to see Necrophos, and with the scythe, that's what I like to see.
Is it gross?
Who? Necrophos?
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Depends what he's working with, but he can be pretty flippant.
Is there any
gross.
way they can shift their strat away from a heavy push into anything else?
I think they can. They have a Visage, a Prophet, and a Lycan. You can just split push with those lineups. Like,
I mean, that's the beauty with a lot of these push strategies, that oftentimes you also have the superior late game.
And we've seen EG actually transition really well in day one with those. They had THD and I don't remember the other heroes, and just suddenly Dagger, Yule Scepter, and just full ganking mode versus it was Alliance trying to go for a split push oriented style. So I think they know what's going on. They're just going to try it, and if it doesn't work, they probably have a backup plan. I hope so for them at least. The only weakness of their lineup right now is that they have nothing to catch people. Witch Doctor is okay when you push, but you're not going to catch a Panda with a Dagger with a
They have no way to
cast.
stop a Panda.
No, they can't. They have to deal with it. That's why they got the healing from Witch Doctor, in my opinion.
I was thinking Faceless Void might fit reasonably well. It will give him a chance to catch people. It goes well with Witch Doctor.
For Vici? Or for EG?
EG.
It's not great with Lycanthrope.
The reason none of us really believes in the fact that they would go for a one position right now that could offer any kind of lockdown is just because we've seen EG play these kinds of lineups in the past where they do a core Visage.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, for most other teams, it would be very apparent that both Visage and Witch Doctor were the support heroes.
Yeah.
But it's just not something that EG believes in. Although
they have run it before.
Yeah, well, I fully agree with Pyrian and also you guys saying Doombringer earlier. I feel both of those heroes would offer a lot. Doom by no means is bad for pushing either. He offers up a creep aura. He's a big tank. He can, just go in there and doom a target, and that is effectively a 4-on-5. So I'm not against it. I just don't think it'll happen when it's EG.
Yeah. It can also be a Zai, Nature's Prophet. They've done it. Nature's Prophet and Visage, safe lane, and then play Witch Doctor +1. So we might be looking at a Universe hero. It could also happen, depending on what they get for Black. If they get something very greedy, they can always decide to double lane it off lane and try to slow down
they pick
Black's farm.
Black's hero last?
They might. So that's why. And since they are first pick, last pick, then it's probably hard for EG to actually counter it.
What do you think would be a good hero here for Black?
It's hard to say.
Pretty much any.
I don't remember all the bans. I think Morphling's banned. I am almost sure it is. Else Morphling is a really good hero against EG's lineup, in my opinion. They have no silence, they have no reliable stuns, no hexes. They have only just damage over time, and Morphling is really good versus that.
Yes, but it's not good in the sense that they need to stop the push at some point.
I think Morphling's okay. When you get an Ethereal Blade versus those heroes, whenever they show up, just...
But we're talking about a very early push with Furion and Lycanthrope and Wishshocker.
They have Titan and Dagger Brew. I think it's enough to stop the pushes, or to get decent trades.
I think I saw some tomato sauce on the front of Arteezy's top there.
You did?
Yeah, I think I did. He's been eating pizza. That could be a pre-match strat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely says something about the draft, which we're going to try to analyze.
Ask Helmut Dominator to get as many tomatoes as possible.
All right.
It'll be a cheesy strat.
Chen pick.
Chen pick. That could work. No, I won't.
They don't run Chen.
I miss Chen a lot.
It's mostly because we just know they don't run it.
Can we get an ancient Chen with Aghanims?
So Lycan.
Yeah.
And if he still picks DK, then that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like, I actually forgot about this. So we're looking at probably Black heroes or FYs. Yeah. So Morphling isn't banned, so I'm going to go with that one.
If they had one more heal, I would have said AA would have been a pretty good pick.
Oh.
Ember Spirit. Okay, and that's... Who plays Ember Spirit?
I think that's Black.
Or Super. I think Black can play Brewmaster as well, and it might be an Ember Spirit versus Lycan. I think Lycan gets destroyed by Ember Spirit one-on-one.
The only thing is that given that Black's been playing so well as your hard farming one guy, why would you then move him onto more of a kind of like action-y?
Just because you don't want to lose a game.
Maybe he's as good as playing
maybe.
a Brewmaster. It's just... I'm not sure about this, but Ember versus Lycan mid, anyone knows? I do think that Ember destroys the Lycan.
Well, Brewmaster also has the advantage against the Lycan, so it's not like they desperately need to put up the Ember against him.
It was actually quite fair, quite even, when we had Fada versus Arteezy. Like, Fada had like 6 CS more, but it's not that big of a deal, I feel like, after 8.
Well, you said the Morphling was good because they don't have any lockdown. Ember Spirit also without any lockdown could just be crazy.
Oh,
this kind of makes Doom, like we were saying earlier, Doom might be a decent pick. Doom into that lineup.
It's definitely better now.
It forces Universe to get an Orchid as well.
Still haven't had a Doom the entire tournament, I don't think.
Yeah, we haven't seen him. No. It was banned by Cloud9.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
but
it
not
was
picked.
banned.
But not picked.
Yeah.
But I mean, good against Ember, good against Brew.
We were also calling an Omni Knight or an Abaddon for EG. Let's see
or
what...
Necrophos.
We keep dreaming.
Yeah. The dream.
Well, right now we were just spitballing anything that offers a heal. Chen has been mentioned, the Juggernaut.
Mm-hmm. It might be an AA. AA plus Ember Spirit is also a very, very good combo.
Oh yeah, we were talking EG.
Yeah, I was thinking for Vici as well, because I'm like, what is FY going to play? And they're missing a support. Unless it's an Elder Titan support, but that's very unlikely. It's very rare. So
they banned the Silencer. I think that would have been a reasonable...
They don't have any hold for the Silencer.
Yeah, I don't think a Silencer was a... Because they don't have really initiation, so you're going to global, but on what do you want to use the global? Like on the Sprout, it's
Sprout?
effective. Sprout is global. You can't run away, man. You're dead.
I never did like Sprout.
Something like a Roman ganking support lion or something like that, maybe.
For Vici?
Yeah. No, for EG, yeah.
What? Well...
if you're going to put Visage in more of a farming spot...
It's still up to them whether they want to, but I think they need some sort of like like a lion or something would be nice too.
Enigma.
I said lion.
You said lion?
I just said lion.
Lion Rasta. Why don't they go with Rasta? Rasa used to be a very popular pick. Offers more push, gets
I love
Sable over
Rasta.
Sprue and Ember.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be a little bit better than the alternative.
I like the Enigma.
Enigma all the way, in my opinion. I think it's really good versus Panda. You just black hole on the Panda ultimate. You don't need the black hole to actually win the fight. It's just, deny the aggression coming out of the blink
But
clap.
you can also
ulti.
go with other heroes like Centaur or
Centaur could be
Naga,
good.
Siren support. There's other options besides using a black hole for that. But although Enigma does offer a lot more push.
I agree.
Drum roll, please. Omni Knight.
Necrophos.
Place your bets.
I think Rasta would be a decent pick. I do.
Well, they have many options, according to us.
But they're all in effort for the same strategy, which is pushing.
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster.
Okie dokie.
So glad we brought up
Yeah, we definitely
20
brought that one
different
up.
options and never ever touched upon the Beastmaster, which
such a
offers
good
the
hero.
lockdown and still has good pushability.
It's such a good hero.
PPD knows, that's what it is.
That's why he's drafting for EG and we're not, right?
And we're sitting here
every
backstage
single time. We would be drafting if we were as smart as him. So it's a very good hero, the Beastmaster, especially versus the Amber Spirit. Now he has to be careful, super, on that hero.
Final pick.
I still don't. I mean, Beastmaster's decent, but he doesn't have that much range on his ultimate, and it still has a cast time much longer than the almost instant hexes of some of the other heroes. So, and it's a very long cooldown too. You're not going to be able to cast it twice in a fight, at least well into the game, maybe when you get your Ags. But his aura does offer a lot.
I think AA is still okay. Lich.
Okay.
I think the Beastmaster and the Lycan combined is pretty strong. I think that's what they're going for.
Universe
there. That's a
Beastmaster?
really strong aura.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand final. Game 1, Vici Gaming versus Evil Geniuses.
Thank you very much, Paul. Yes, we are here to do your grand final. Myself, Toby One, joined by Synderen, and we got to cast the first game of the entire event. Now we come back together again for the grand final.
Yeah, and this should be an amazing matchup. I feel like, as has been talked about on the panel quite a bit, these two teams, I feel like this is the ideal final for the tournament. With how the teams have been playing throughout the event, with how they've been adapting and how they've been winning their games, I think it's completely fair to say that these are the two best teams at the event. So I guess the way the brackets turned out in that regard was pretty representative. It wasn't that, for example, Vici Gaming knocked out who you could have say should have, in quotation marks, been in the finals. I feel like we've got the right grand final here. So I'm really excited to see what's going to go down in this game. We've got one new pick, or actually two new picks in this game, as they talked about. The Beastmaster and Ember Spirit making their first appearances in the tournament so far. And one thing I want to talk about really briefly before we get into the actual action here is, as far as Vici Gaming's lanes go, is this the first Lich pick of the tournament? Is this the second one? It might be the second one, I guess. I think Vici might have run it once before.
It's the first one that's coming to my mind right now.
It's two very different styles, is what I was getting at. EG is trying to play very early / mid-game oriented heavy push, whereas Vici Gaming is playing lane control and mid-game control. And should this one go late, I think I favor Vici Gaming.
Yeah.
Ember Spirit with Elder Titan is absolutely disgusting in late game.
It's also wonderful up against heroes like Lycan, because that was one thing too, which, like, okay, you think about the control. I know the panel were talking about this before as well. It's like, okay, well, EG are going to have some push power, but who have they really got to control the Ember Spirit? And the Roar is kind of the only thing they've got for now. But when you think about it, who can really control the Ember Spirit jumping around? And if you put everything into him, then the Brewmaster Philly also moves around and pops up his own ultimate. So with the Ember Spirit in the front lines bouncing himself around, the split push is going to be insane. Heroes like Nature's Prophet, heroes like Lycan, they can't really move across the map like they would have liked to in the past. And with an extra little bit of crit damage coming up into Super, which you would expect in a late game Ember Spirit, the Familiars won't do as much work as they would really like either. And Skywrath Mage, he's always got this ability to catch out different heroes here and there. The Lich Ultimate is a very big deterrent to drag people away. But if the Brewmaster's keeping everyone stunned up, Bliss keeping them frosted up, and the ET is able to get his stomp off and the splitter off, this whole combo of Vici Gaming can be absolutely brutal against the EG lineup.
And EG are doing something very uncharacteristic for them in this game. They're actually playing Zai solo mid. So I don't think I've seen EG doing this for a very long time, where they put him in a core position. He is definitely a capable solo player. He kind of got famous at first for playing the offlane role, which we've got Universe playing on the Nature's Prophet this game, and that leaves Fear to be playing support this game on his Visage in the bot lane together with PPD's Witch Doctor and Arteezy on the Lycan. I'm curious to see how this pans out. I think it's a great call from EG to not put the Lycan mid in this game, because he he would have been getting absolute nothing.
Universe to be really careful. He was actually pushing the limit a hell of a lot before in the earlier games today with this too. Just this off-lane nature's prophet living life on the edge.
Yeah, and it is kind of a scary lane. It's not that difficult for him to play up against this lane until FY reaches level 2, but then all hell is going to break loose. If he gets hit by concussive shot and Brewmaster gets in for the clap, Black, even starting with a Quelling Blade on his safe lane Brewmaster, is going to be able to farm easily and break through the Sprout if Universe will try to go for a defensive play with that. But yeah, it's, I mean, so far so good for Universe in that off lane, to be honest. I think he was expecting to have a harder time up here than he has so far, level 2.5 at this point, and even bothering FY quite a bit here.
Yeah, he's actually managed to get through all of his health consumables, so there's not really much left from that. I also want to flag a different lane too, and maybe the reason too why we saw Zai come to this middle lane, they just realized there's not that much to play around with here in the mid lane. When you're going up against a Lich as well as an Ember, it's too easy to go for a kill. I should Ember disconnect out, that's why he's halfway up the ramp in the mid lane right now, so he's a little bit out of position. But
just a little bit.
Zai can't really do anything about this anyway. He doesn't have a boar available, he's got one level up in axes and no bottle charges. Yeah,
he could actually almost kill him here.
But for me, I think they looked at the middle lane and said, okay, we're not going to win with a Lycan here in the middle lane, so we can't run our TZ there. So let's just throw someone who we know can pull a little bit of farm. If he needs to, he can stack the Ancient, so even then he can catch up a little bit later on. And that's the primary thing probably for Zai. Get him to the point where he's got the ball or Soul Ring, or in this case it's actually be a bottle, and then you just farm the Ancients. Then you can rotate Fear towards the middle lane when you feel you might have a couple more levels and be able to tank it up. Or when Lycan is capable of also rotating out. So the lane switch is probably going to be coming around that 5 to 6 minute mark. Just when Ember Spirit's also probably considering roaming around a little bit, maybe being involved in a gank if he can find an action rune.
Yeah, and as far as the Beastmaster goes, like the lane itself is really difficult for him, but he does, in a way, have one thing going for him that he didn't used to. This is 6/8-2, so composite damage type is gone. And because of that, Beastmaster's axes are now actually strictly physical, which means he hits through the Flame Guard and hits really hard. These axes got buffed, and Super has 1 armor on the Ember, which is why I'm saying he could have pretty much killed him here. Of course, he's going to let him go because it was a disconnect, right? But it's something for Super to keep in mind in the lane that when this Beastmaster reaches level 6, his damage output against Super is incredibly high. Any hero can gank that mid lane and kill him off. And since they're running a dual lane here, Zai will be level 6 before Super. So there's definitely potential here for EG to go for a rotation at that point. And I think it's the right guy to focus this game. If you can kill Ember Spirit twice or maybe 3 times before the 15-minute mark, you will be very, very happy with that.
I just want to set everyone's hearts at rest right now. There has been an agreement between Vici Gaming and EG that they'll allow Super to come back. There was some quotes from the Chronicle of Frozen that did inspire them to allow that to happen. So the players will allow Super to move themselves back. Zai says he'll be a nice guy, and Black is now giving him his firstborn. We might have crossed storylines a little bit there.
Yeah.
But Ember Spirit does reconnect himself back inside the game. And that means we'll be able to get ourselves back underway very, very quickly, and nothing is really going to be lost, including the life points there of Super. So let's get it underway.
Yeah, he's okay still. He has 4 tangos and is going to get his bottle in a moment. So this is not the end of the world for him. Of course, it's annoying taking damage like this, but he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm interested to see if Vici Gaming are going to try to change up their lanes a little bit and rotate the Lich somewhere else, or if they feel like they're getting enough out of the mid lane. Because to be honest, yes, they're keeping Zai from getting quite a few CS, but he's still going to be getting his once he gets the bottle out. That's when Beastmaster will just be getting farm easily in that mid lane. No matter how hard they try, he can still get like 1 or 2 last hits every time he uses the wild axes.
What lanes is he going to make better, though, by rotating?
Yeah, that's the question. If he goes bottom, I think he could help out Ice quite a bit to get some higher levels and perhaps annoy the Lycan quite a bit after we see the
I don't think he can go top,
TPD,
because then he's just going to leach out the experience from Black and FY.
Pointless. There's no reason to go there.
The bot is the only other option, really.
Yeah, and maybe he wants to stay in mid, but to be honest, the lane decision making here from EG to put Beastmaster mid has been the best decision in the game so far as lanes go. This has been very good already, and we're only 3 minutes in, but because of that, they get a very farmed Lycan. Beastmaster is getting what he needs, and more importantly, it's just about how this is going to develop when you get to the early part of the mid game, right? Let's say you get a fast level 6 in the Beastmaster, you get a fast level 6 in the Prophet. That has a lot of implications as to how you can start moving around on the map, whereas Vici are a lot more limited with this mid lane. Ember does not want to move early on. He's not going to get a fast level 6. And the other heroes they have on their team can't really gank that well until they get up in their levels too. Skywrath Lich is not the best support duo. It's okay, I guess. But Brewmaster, playing the safe lane, he needs a bit of time to farm with the Blink. And Elder Titan, well, also not your best ganker.
I like this now dual lane coming out from EG. So knowing that, like, the early harassment from the Witch Doctor was just trying to keep Ice off the lane and burn through a couple of the consumables, and they move it out, and they put Fear now as a core in the lane, move Arteezy into the jungle, and drag PPD in towards the middle lane to work with Zai. So this turns into more of a rune control, using Hawk, using that also rather nicely crafted ball. And they're searching for an opening. Super and Fenrir. FY's got no way to slow him down until Super now will bottle up a haste rune. So be careful about it coming anywhere near Super when he gets those searing chains off. So they will not want to move anywhere near him for just the near moment. But you notice now they wanted to get the familiars up for Fear. They want to have something to work up against Ice. And instantly he realized that the support heroes have moved out. Ice moves up in the lanes. He starts contesting for the CS now.
And he's level 4.5, which is very, very good for an Elder Titan. 4.5 minutes in the Dire off lane, so he's looking great so far. Of course, he hasn't really been getting that much farm. He's still got 8 CS, which is... I feel like he's got more than he should have here, to be honest. And
it's on the same par as Nature's Prophet. Like, it's even experience, even CS.
Yeah, but he was against 3 heroes in the beginning, right? There was a Witch Doctor, Visage, and the Lycan.
This is not good for Universe.
Yeah, he's in all sorts
don't have
of
to seal him up until he starts TPing out. He sprouts up Black. There's that Quelling Blade going to work. FY tried the body block, but he was unable to get it right now. The Grave Shield from Fear. He'll rotate in. There's only one charge up in the Soul Assumption. It won't be enough damage, however. First blood goes to EG. And Vici Gaming lose their Skywrath Mage, while middle lane Fenrir, he can't get close enough to Zai.
That was a kill that really shouldn't have happened, to be honest. I think Black forgot which hotkey he had the Quelling Blade on, or he couldn't find the right tree, because it took him a very long time to get out of that sprout, and because of that, he couldn't catch up to the clap, and EG immediately realized that they have counterplay potential here, porting in Fear and getting that kill. Only with 2 charges in the Soul Assumption, that's a really cheap and good kill to get here. That is going to help them a lot, because now Universe is level 5, and potentially they could be playing Fear a little bit here in the top lane, maybe let him get some solo XP. No, they're going to put Universe up there again. So Fear will be rotating back, and him getting that kill also puts him close to level 5, which we didn't talk too much about his level 6. We were focusing mainly on Prophet and Beastmaster, but the Visage, just even more global potential and easy pickings when they start getting that rolling.
Super's trying to come up here to make sure this Beastmaster is incapable of stacking up the Ancients. They're actually rather vigilant about this, considering they don't have an Observer Ward up on the hill. They've only got the Observer Ward that's sitting in this middle lane, watching whoever's on the higher ground on the other side of the river. So very, very defensive warding coming out from VG.
And it looks like it might potentially be Super who reaches level 6 first in this mid lane. They forced Zai back a little bit more now, and of course with Lich denying, he will not be getting the full XP, but I was still imagining he would hit level 6 faster by being 1 and 2. But currently out-leveling Zai here, and the moment Super hits level 6, they can basically jump on Zai and kill him. He has no escape, and without Roar, he can't lock them in place. So he needs to be very, very careful once that comes up for Super. Even now sitting on an Illusion Rune, and the Phase Boots grabbed, and this is very unusual. If this smoke gank does not work, it's essentially a lot of wasted time, but it's a very hard one to call as well, because you're really not expecting
it might work perfectly.
Oh, and Arteezy's really in a lot of trouble already.
Yep, Frost Blast takes away so many of his life points. Super is actually holding the Searing Chains back. He doesn't need it, so he doesn't use it. Arteezy will get sniped off inside the jungle. It's a good smoke rotation. And it's around that mark that we were calling before, the 6 to 7 minute mark, when the Ember will look to rotate out, is when we thought EG was going to do their lanes. I'm surprised EG weren't 100% prepared for that, because you look at around their warding, that's the beauty about that 6 to 7 minute mark. You got fresh warding down the bottom lane, watching the bottom access area, but that's it. Like, there's no other vision, so when they go missing, it was only missing for maybe 10 seconds.
It was a very quick move here from Vici Gaming, which is why Zai didn't get to call it in time. I think they got the right timing with when the lane was pushed out, so they could as well just be standing in the fog waiting for the next creep wave or whatever. But very swift move here coming in from Vici Gaming, and it's going to net Super is level 6, so potentially they'll be looking to maybe even kill off the Lycan again, because he's definitely their priority target. If they can hold down Arteezy here, that would be really, really good for them. And Ember Spirit, one of the really good heroes at doing it. Even though Lycan is very fast with the 650 move speed and shapeshift, Ember is one of the heroes who can actually catch up to him with the Fire Remnant. And of course, Searing Chains to hold him in place for those 3 seconds on level 4. It seemed like that was actually the counter pick. That was the main reason they got it, was to deal with Lycan. And, well, so far so good. They got a kill.
Man, it's going to get better and better as time goes on too. I just loved how efficient the Super wanted to be the entire time. He didn't trigger the Searing Chains in case, I don't know what, there could have been a potential TP out by the Lycan. He didn't actually have one at the time. Or he was waiting for extra support. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. Super, he gets Searing Chains off. The Spirit was on top of him. And now a quick jump away, which means the Paralyzing Cask is also taking out position with Ice, sprouted up. Universe comes in to help Matt. A Soul Assumption hit from Fear. We'll be able to get a rebuttal kill onto that bottom lane.
And Universe is just so fast on these rotations. If you don't get the kill immediately, you know Prophet's going to reinforce and make the counterplay. So if they're going for a kill like that, it's not the right heroes to do it with. They need more burst. Elder Titan and Ember Spirit is about... it's not burst damage, it's just more damage over time, kind of, especially early game for the Ember Spirit. He becomes a burster later on, but they would have needed a Lich there for that kill.
He had no vision of the Invis rune that was being picked up by Super. And because of this, he's playing very defensive, realizing that Lich is the man farming at the mid lane now up to level 7. In fact, the Lich is out-leveling the Ember Spirit at the moment because he started soaking up everything in the mid. So I don't know if he's purposefully taking damage, but Super, there's your Searing Chains. They may even commit Chain Frost to this one if they can, but the hold just not long enough for him.
A very nice awareness here from Zai to not... If he would have gone forward another 200 range, he would have died there. Lich would have caught up, got Frost Blast, and that's his death, so... Super ran out of patience, basically. He can't just stand around there for a full minute and not get farmed, so tried to go for it, is now back to farming.
I should check out where EG is moving. Speaking about farm, it's currently getting a little bit clogged up for EG. They brought Universe back up to the top lane, now the creep wave comes close to the wave, but Vici Gaming have left FY just sitting up here on the top lane, farming up this Skywrath Mage, getting him to level 6. Fenrir has already got all the farm in the world that he requires. Kills will allow him to probably build the mech in step. The Blink Dagger's already over on the Brewmaster pre-10-minute mark, so they're looking for a kill with him. Super's got a large amount of money, but still needs a while to go before he hits at the Battle Fury. But a lot of levels are very nicely spread across the VG Gaming lineup at the moment, where EG, they brought 4 heroes down to the bottom lane to deal with Ice, who just backed up. So it wastes a lot of rotation time there of EG. And maybe, well, VG Gaming, Black, the smoke's going to trigger. Jumped out, Universe. Well, there's CP support coming in right now. It's coming in from the Beastmaster. Universe, Wrath of Nature. They have enough damage. The Raw goes on Fenrir. Remember, he does have this Lich ult with a bouncing cast to make it impossible for him to get it off in time. It just keeps bouncing back. Black, double stump the Super. He's coming in to help out his teammate. The Searing Chain, it catches, not actually only catches PPD. It didn't catch out Zai, so Zai gets in front of Super. He wants to spirit himself away to the Familiars. They're already in position. The drop down by the Familiars. Fear in the perfect position. Zai sticks around. He's the one to get the kill. And they go 5-2 while Ice in the bottom lane. TP's out. The damage from Arteezy really, really high, but unable to get the kill. But EG definitely coming out on top, and now they go for FY as well. Universe TP's in. They just want to keep this momentum going. The Mystic Flare will drop Universe a large amount of damage. FY, he's got Norb in 2 seconds, but 2 seconds is too long away. Fenrir will come in and get a revenge kill on the Prophet. And Black, Blink Dagger's off cooldown. But there's a haste rune in Zai. He knows clapping him has absolutely no effect. The only one he could have a crack for is PPD. But while all this is going on...
Pursuit. This is going to take a long time now. He's going to give up now.
Yeah, he can't do it. But the bottom lane, Super's looking at Arteezy. He'll need a Spirit to jump and chase him down right now. In fact, he's going to use 3 of them to try and catch up to an Arteezy. Just TP's out. The other Titans picked up the Visage, so the Spirit got down to him in time. So they do lose Fear on the bottom lane. But it was a quick TP out for Arteezy, and he's probably the major man they had to keep alive there, even though Fear is meant to be playing a semi-core.
I like to see Super using 3 spirits there just because it's showing that he's frustrated with how the previous ganks have failed because they didn't burst targets fast enough. So now he's like, you know what, I'm going to throw 3 remnants on top of this Visage and just jump for it. So going for the full burst damage here. And I think it's the right way to play these ganks. When there's so much counterplay potential from EG, you have to bring them down immediately. And even though in that particular scenario he actually didn't need to do it, it shows that he has the right approach to how to deal with the problem they've had so far.
Well, if those spirits do hit, then yes, there will be some nice damage. And initially, though, I think he just made the best of a bad situation. He realized he couldn't really stop the Lycan properly, so he just went for the target he knew he could kill, which was, in this case, the Visage.
Now, in the mid lane, he is facing up a little bit against Arteezy here. Arteezy is just forcing him away with these wolves with the Vlads on. That's one thing Flame Guard can't protect you against. And it's kind of these two heroes. I recall casting a game not too long ago with, it was as a matter of fact, I think, yeah, it was a game with a Lycan against an Ember Spirit where Ember Spirit was getting extremely farmed.
They break from both sides. The roll will come out. The story, the slow, but the Wrath of Nature. Big amount of damage coming in. The Familiars, they actually bounce it up, and the Lich Holy goes over to the Ogres. It's not going to come back again. Zai trying to bottle up and get away here. Propos about TV, and in comes Super. No side of fist, so he can't get up the hill. Ice right behind him. Universe trying to body block up Super. The Spirits are still going down. Zai running away from Black. He gets the clap off. The kill will go their way. 1-for-1 trying to PPD TPing out. There's too much damage on him, though. He will not be able to escape in time. The Brewmaster split's already gone too. Universe getting out of here. It's a B6 chance to get himself in to the tier 2 tower range. There's your extra stun. Super right in his tail. They will take the extra kills. TPs are coming back in from Arteezy. He'll end up cancelling it, though, as he looks like he got silenced up. FY is going to stop him. And Arteezy will just bail out of here. But Fear, he's sticking on the back of Black. There's no mana on him. Super thinks maybe he can have a crack. First Familiar drop down and the second. Just making sure there's a lot more space. Ice wants to play for this, but they can see him coming in with the obs.
Yeah, we're starting to reach the point for Vici Gaming when their lineup starts becoming very, very potent. Now that they have level 4 Natural Order and Astral Spirit on Ice. If they get a fight with the Brewmaster split on top of the Astral Spirit, I don't think EG stands a chance in a 5-on-5 engagement right now. So they need to try to play it a little bit smarter, getting pickoffs around the map and trying to still get off their good counter initiations that they've had so far, but try to avoid the full-on 5-man fight where if that happens, all right, cut your losses, lose a hero and try to push a tower instead, which is what their lineup is really, really good at. And yeah, for that fight, Vici Gaming definitely got quite a bit out of that.
They're doing some de-warding right now, EG, using the Hawk to watch exactly where Vici Gaming is moving around. And this is a major problem for VG. It's not so they got someone like a Batrider that'll give them the flying vision to find this Hawk all the time. And the Lycan Wolves, they're just forcing these tier 1 towers down. They can see him. One of the Familiars will also drop, but Visage takes out the tower anyway. And top lane Universe, they're being poked and prodded on every single side Vici Gaming. They'll TP up right now, Super, and Universe, Searing Chain is going to go off. Universe can be stuck here. He does have one Spirit, but now Universe, another TP. Can he get it off in time? No, he can't. Sleight of Fist comes in for the last point of damage. And that's a solo kill going the way of the Ember Spirit.
Very well played by Super here, taking the time to reposition himself to maximize the chance that the Searing Chains do hit Universe. Universe was trying to stick around inside the creep wave with a couple of trains as well, I think. And just playing the chance game there. If the Searing Chains don't hit, he easily gets away. But I think Super, where he was standing when he used Chains, I am pretty sure there was only 2 targets, if not maybe 3, but very, very nicely done here, securing that kill. There's one thing happening in this game, though, that we haven't talked enough about. I think Arteezy is really out farming the side of Vici.
But look what he's using his money for. He's actually used it to pick up a Hyperstone. Even before he thinks about his BKB in this, it's not so he's got an Omni Knight to protect him in this game. And he doesn't even get the plate mail to start with either. So he's just increasing the attack speed as the primary thing. So we assume AC?
Against Cloud9 earlier today, he did go for Vlad's into AC, and then they did Roche in like 2 seconds with the Visage medallion as well. And that's, if they can manage to pull that off, it's fine that he doesn't have the BKB, because with 2 lives in the fight following that, he can definitely play with confidence, and Vici Gaming can't really focus him. And then when the following fight comes, he might have farmed up his BKB. If the game plays out the way EG are imagining, then that's definitely a possibility. And
Super. Black jumps in, he got the clap as well as the split. Super, the roll will go on him with the Wrath of Nature. Is there enough damage to really turn this around? PPD back to the tier 1 tower. The prop is up in towards the air. He's regenerating the ET splitter. It pulls back Zai as well as Universe. There's going to be one to VG Gaming. Now the Lit Chainfrost coming down. And Needmore's bouncing to Fear, but it's just lost in the creep wave. A little bit further down though, Black did manage to get that second hero pick up for Super. Too much damage under the tower. Fear, well, they will get the double kill over to Black. PPD is here, but not enough damage. Yes, that's not for a death ward if he used the 1 charges, which he will do so. But there's no control to really go with this. So it ends up being a 1-for-3 trade-off.
That's just Vici Gaming right there, getting the perfect opening. And Super's damage output when he's with this Elder Titan of Ice is so scary. Speaking of which, Ice is going for his Midas build again, which he ran once earlier this tournament, I think, and it's apparently his priority now on the Elder Titan. He used to never get this item, but now he seems to be getting it every time, so he scales into the mid game. And in that particular game, we're talking about whether he would be thinking about going for something like the Aghanim Scepter. I think this is a really good Ag Scepter game for the Elder Titan, getting that disarm on the ultimate against a Lycan who I think will not be too hard to hit with the Earth Splitter, because when the fights break out, Arteezy will try to stay on his target. And even if, let's say he doesn't get hit, then at least he zones him out. So I would like to see that a lot from Icy Size this game.
This is going to be pretty rough, but, well, we called up exactly perfectly before, and it looks like already the pings are coming out. With the Hawks and the Boars doing all the scout work for him, the ET Spirit comes over finally, so both teams fully aware of what's going on inside the pit. Roshan drops to half-life, and EG will bail themselves out. But FY already starts the D-Ward at the moment, as long as he can keep hitting uphill. But that's also his Arcane Boost now arriving for a Skywrath Mage. Actually, he's not. He's actually bypassing his Arcanes. This looks like a... Well, I am going to assume a Yule Scepter. I'm not going to assume a Dagon.
I think... Hang on, what's in the courier?
It's a Staff of Wizardry.
Oh yeah, so the mech is going... Okay, the mech is going on to the Lich. Because this is a build I had seen before in Skywrath. Double nulls into mech, but... Yeah, I would assume the Force Staff here, it's a really good way of dealing with Beastmaster.
Alright, yep.
Whenever you get roared, you can get the target out of trouble. Yule Scepter is also a possible choice, but...
I was just thinking for the setup and a way to actually control the Lycan, considering he's not going a BKB build. Like, he's obviously going to get it in the later portion of the game. But in this early stages, he can do a hell of a lot for him.
I just think the chance that Force Staff becomes relevant in the fight is much higher. So I would expect that to be the choice here from FY. And they're going to try to trade off towers here. Tier 1 tower top being pushed out by EG, bottom Tier 1 by Vici Gaming, and I think both teams are going to be happy with, okay, you know what, let's just trade them off. Blink now picked up for Zai. That's a big pickup right here.
It was mentioned by the panel that raw times the distance just isn't as long as you would really like it, not unless you're able to pick up something like an Aghanim Scepter on him. So the Blink Dagger is that ability to jump on the Ember Spirit before he's able to reposition himself to jump on you. It also means those defensive spirits may not be in the exact position the Super wants them to be in, and may not be his get out of jail free card. Now, EG, you got a rather large army coming up on top. The Howl damage too forces a fortification to come up from Vici Gaming. PPD wants to have a crack here at the middle lane. He won't find any kind of joy, however, with Black around him, but they see that because of the Hawk that's in the tree line. But this top tower, down to 1/3 of his life points. That was just a minion army push with a Howl bonus, and only a level 1 Howl at that.
I'm surprised EG backed off from that. They had the Hawk spotting out both Black and Fenrir around the mid lane, so they could have forced the TPs or maybe just taken the tower there if they would have stuck around. But playing it a little safe here, can't really fault them too much for it though, because I feel like, judging from EG's previous games, they probably feel like, first of all, Arteezy's farming really well, and they don't really struggle to manage the later portion of the mid game with these kind of lineups. A lot of teams will be brute forcing very hard, feeling like, guys, we drafted a pushing lineup, we need to take all the towers, but EG are taking care of getting the farm as well and scaling well into later on.
Look how quick Vici go attempt this. EG will be taking this tier 2 tower now. Zai comes up, he's got 1 point up in that inner beast, and he'll have the Howl bonus coming up from Lycan right now too. And this will mean the death of the tier 2 tower, and because no one from Vici Gaming are defending this, instantly EG know what the hell is going on, and that's the fact that Roshan is currently being done by Vici Gaming. 3 Euros in there, the Likeable Bishop is full AC right now, but this will be an Aegis Immortal going into the Ember Spirit.
I think this is a really good trade and a good play by Vici Gaming. It's the trade itself, the tier 2 for Roche, I guess you could say is fairly even, because this top tier 2 tower is actually quite relevant for the Dire to have some good control of the jungle, but it's more the fact that they deny the Aegis from EG. You know what EG's plan is. We've seen it multiple times in the tournament. They want to get this Aegis, they want to start sieging, and now they've just bought themselves like 10 minutes in which they know there's not going to be the Aegis on the Lycan, so should a team fight break out, Vici Gaming might be able to get the opener they're looking for.
We'll see if they do want to initiate. I was actually looking for that opener with some level of smoke coming on the courier, but currently there's actually no smoke on their team. In fact, do they even have it in stock at the moment? They actually don't. It's on cooldown for another just over 1.5 minutes now. So they got no ability just to walk themselves out. They do have the ability just to force down a lane, however. But does Super really want to do that? Or is it more insurance to make sure he just finishes his Battle Fury?
I think Vici Gaming are content with just farming for a little bit here. Get the key item up on Super. The Battle Fury is a huge difference for the Ember Spirit. And in addition to that, they also have the Midas advantage, which we mentioned it briefly, but going into later on in the game, Ice has the potential to really scale on this hero. He currently sits on a Force Staff and 1,300 gold. He'll probably be going for a Scythe of Vice, but let's imagine this one goes the distance, like past an hour. Elder Titan is a hero who can actually be played with significant damage output late game, because Natural Order not only affects his spirit, but of course also himself, so whoever he's hitting does not have base armor. And if you get a good Astral Spirit off and get the damage bonus for yourself, if you get something like a crit and a BKB, you could potentially fight into EG's lineup. And if nothing else, draw attention to yourself, take some focus fire from EG and give Super some good space in the fights.
Actually, just watching, you were right about the 4-staff. So the double 4-staffs are already up. Fenris is actually practically done at the moment. I'm still not 100% certain, like, when EG want to hit their proper timing on this. Is it just now, I'll wait out the 5 minutes before they want to try and push in? PPD doesn't really have much. Like, we're not looking at a quick Aghanim Scepter coming up on this Witch Doctor in this game. It's more, damn it, I need to build into my urn. a quick 23-minute urn. Even then, he's a little bit off that. And they can't get the space because Arteezy's just pulling so much of it in. He's still sitting at 11,000 net worth. He has the highest net worth on the board, but his effectiveness during the team fights, it still kind of feels like he could be properly controlled. The
trade-off they've done, though, for PPD getting very little farm is, if you look at Fear, he started out as a support Visage, and now in a 23-minute game, he does have the Axe end level at almost 12. So he's been getting a lot of farm priority on the team. And at the same time, Zai, who played the mid role, he's got what he needs. He has the Blink Dagger and the Gem to be able to try to get some good map control here. And
Battle Fury is done.
Curious to see what he's going to build into. Yeah, this is going to be the Battle Fury for Super fairly late.
Should also flag too that Ice picked up a plate mail, so he's actually probably going to go into a Shiva's Guard build as this ET. Unless he wants to have a crack at the AC as well, but I assume Black will do that instead. Because that's been more of his kind of role. Super, Trip Familiar stuns, holding him in position, but he's already got his Flame Guard up. So in the Wrath of Nature, he'll do some chip damage. But this is the tier 1 tower. On the top lane though, Arteezy making a beeline for the tier 3. He doesn't have the creep wave, however. But EG will slow him down with a fortification. You've still got Universe pushing at the bottom lane, and there's a courier being roared up by Zai. The double balls are coming in. The courier, it needs more speed to get itself up. Wait, it's this over the hill. The boar attack, 9 life points on the courier, and now Zai's going to lose his life points for it. And importantly, he drops the gem. That is a huge kill right there. They keep their courier alive, and they give a big expensive item over to Vici Gaming. And probably more importantly, all these Hawks now can be visible because of the gems, and all the aggressive warding of EG is going to go down the toilet.
That was such a high-risk play as well. I think it was a cool attempt here going for that, but he knew that Vici Gaming's heroes were in the middle lane at the tier 1 tower, so they could definitely cut him off, and the time it takes him to get the roar off, and even with Super on the Ember Spirit, he knows Super's going to catch up, and then he can't stop him, right? Because you just roar the courier. So this is a pretty big mistake. It's a swing. It's not just that he dies and loses the gem, but he hands it over, so it's a swing of about 2,000 gold right there in one play. And it's not like they got something secondary out of it. Arteezy didn't really do any damage to the top tier 3, and sure, they defended their mid tier 1, but they glyphed that already. And Vici Gaming will probably be looking for that soon anyway.
Do you actually think here with Arteezy, like, I know we were flagging the BKB as well, but with the new timings, if you're really thinking maybe this game does just go really late, should you try and go into something more like a Necro Book? Try and get at least a lane advantage and then go into your late game BKB. Oh, Universe, they're going Black, the Raw. It comes in from Zai. Universe, he has the Orchid, so Black, he can't split out this one. And the Orchid bonus damage, is it going to be enough? No, it's not. The Boar is slowing him down, but he is well away to safety.
Yeah, there's not enough damage between them just yet. When Universe gets the Hex, that one is an easy kill, but...
He's had enough of this ball. It's just slowed him down way too much. Oh, man. Super in that short period of time, though, since he picked up his Battle Fury, he's already up to 2,000 gold on this Ember. The money is going to start streaming in for this Ember Spirit. And we know Super has done this. Seen it time and time again with his Ember Spirit.
And as we talked about earlier, it is a good Ember Spirit game. Now, EG are doing what they can to itemize against him, of course, with the Orchid on the Prophet and building into the Hex. Primal Raw will be the key ability if they can get it off on Super, but apart from that...
You saw they committed both of those to the Brewmaster and they still couldn't kill him off.
Yeah.
What's their chance up against an Ember Spirit?
They have really good chances with Lycan next to them. I think he's going to die.
That's true.
He's really going to die if Lycan's
true.
there.
But do you really want to commit 3 heroes every single time? Try and find 2 heroes who are going to be on opposite sides of the map pushing.
But I mean, even then, actually, if Super turns around before he gets roared, he could get double force staffed. That's... I think that was one of the best counters. Beastmaster used to be really popular at one point, and teams just started picking up dual force step on their team, and whenever someone got roared, you just pushed him out. You reset, and then you went in, and there was no roar available.
Black's got to slow down here. I know he's having a scatter. Maybe he's not, because they actually split themselves up. So Super's going to come down the mid. They did group themselves up as 5, searching for an opening. Ice comes in range of the tower, and Super, with that fresh Chrysalis over on him, the Spirit comes in, and now the Stomp Arteezy. He's already going to be controlled during the first part of the Lycan form, and the ET Split's going to make sure there's no real follow-up. He just has to sleep while he waits. Black splits himself up, and Arteezy's lost half his life, but it's Familiar drop down. They still want to kill off Super, but Defensive Spirit back. Arteezy will be picking up FY very, very deep over on the dire side of the river. While the Brewmaster Rolly has still caused a large amount of chaos, PPD going to get Searing chained up for the moment. There is another stomp coming up here from Ice, slowing the pressure, but PPD's restoration bringing him up again. Super has a sleight of fist into a Searing chain in 2 seconds' time if he wants to have a crack, and he's looking at it. He definitely wants it. The Hawk is watching the entire Vici Gaming lineup until Super kills it off now. And do they get an opening? They got one. PPD, he's burning, but not enough until Black jumps in. A very quick on the climb. Universal Lich Shot is going to bounce back up again. The Familiars is going to work against Fear right now. He's going to split this up, but he won't. It actually bounced between his Familiar and himself. It's too much damage. The Slider Fist up again. Fear, there's the Spirit out and in. There goes Super. Double kill, however, for Black. Zaya is still alive for the moment, but EG are not coming out on top of these engagements at all.
What a beautiful sleight of fist right there into chains by Super, getting those 2 heroes on the high ground. Beautiful play there. It's going to give them the tier 1 tower here as well. And I was about to say, that fight didn't really go the way it should have gone for Vici Gaming. Ice got a fantastic Echo Stomp off in the start. I think he hit 3 targets. And then the Earth Splitter, he just threw it into like nothing. It's a level 4 Echo Stomp, so it's a 5-second sleep. More than enough to throw an Earth Splitter to hit like 2 or 3 targets there.
But it was weird because he threw the Stomp into this region here and then threw the Splitter across this line. So it's like he thought the sleep was only going to last like 2 seconds, and then the players would walk into the Stomp.
I think he was trying to hit Arteezy, but that's just not realistic right now with the way that fight was playing out.
The dog slept for 5 seconds, man. Like, he was going nowhere.
That was just a flat-out miss, but they do end up winning the fight after all, which I believe they should have with the initiation they got. And what do they get out of this? There's a Daedalus coming the way of Super in about 1,000 gold.
It's practically full Shivas over on Ice.
Big difference. Ice. Yeah, you're right. Almost has the Shivas guard. Wondering why he did not go for the Hex in this particular game. I think it would have still been really good, but of course the Shivas guard.
Who would it really be focused on, really? Because if you Hex up Arteezy, more than likely he's already triggered his ulti for.
Yeah, and he has BKB too, so I guess that's a good point. And maybe what Ice is also setting up for is the fact that the way these fights happen from EG, they're really clustered up. So he can hit a lot of targets, do some good damage, and slow a lot of heroes, where when it comes to single target control, I guess they feel like they have enough for the moment between Black and FY on the Skywrath Mage with these slows and stuns and, of course, the Cyclone. So I agree with the Shivas. I think it's a better choice here. And then maybe Hex is his next item. And this is decision time for Ice. Do I go full utility, or is it now that you start building into a semi-carry for the late game?
It's a big decision to make. We'll see what he does. He does now have the full Shivas guard over on the Courier, flying down to that bottom lane. He's the man to defend it after Arteezy already started adding a little bit more pressure down that bottom lane. As Vici Gaming can just go back to farming. We're still got a while before Roshan's going to spawn up. We're looking at just over 30 seconds. Until the big man's alive again. And EG just keep their split push going. I said before, Arteezy add pressure to the bottom lane. These Familiars haven't left the top lane in the last, I think, 5 minutes. Just keep pressuring and going and going and going. Maybe every now and then just poke out to see what's inside the dire side jungle. But they're keeping that top creep wave, pushing as far as possible. So Universe, if the creep wave does reach it, he can at least try and force a trade out from Vici Gaming. Or maybe just have a lot of collateral damage.
And should this game go very late, which, to be honest, it's almost dead even right now at 30 minutes. There's a slight experience in gold lead for Vici Gaming, but
1K, 5K.
I wouldn't consider this a big deal at all right now. So it's likely that it goes late. Then EG's lineup, the split push between Lycan and the Prophet, Vici Gaming does not have the best heroes to deal with it. Ember Spirit is great. He can throw a Fire Remnant and always return to one lane, but the other heroes, not really that good at small skirmishes. You could say Skywrath Mage is good, but he will fall off late game when heroes get very tanky and get BKBs. The Brewmaster, if you commit the split and the enemy heroes get away from that, from the skirmish, they can just gather up and try to force you down 5-on-5. So it's not the easiest task for Vici Gaming to end this game out later on, actually. I think they might have to be careful with dragging it on too long, even though their late game is great. Maybe they never get to play the fight.
Solo kill being attempted by FY in the bottom lane. The Mystic Flare was well off target. So PPD, the Spirit! Ooh! came in the last moment. He threw that as far as he could. Also, at the same time, Vici Gaming do take Roshan. EG saw it happening because the Hawk came out. It got Slider fisted down, and that is one way they can get rid of the Hawk, because the Observer Ward up on top of the hill, which is what scouted out the Hawk's movement in. So 16 to 11 on the board, but another Aegis model protecting the Ember Spirit with a Battle Fury, Daedalus, and now another 1,500 gold over on this Ember. And Lycan, he's going Abyssal Blade after the BKB now.
Yeah.
So he's just looking for some direct lockdown control anywhere he can find it.
This is what I was going to talk about this a little bit earlier on with when I brought up I saw a Lycan versus Ember Spirit game pretty recently. Yeah, that's about 15 or 20 minutes ago in this game now, but whatever. The Lycan in that game got an Abyssal Blade, and I'm not sure if it might have been Black playing it. Got the Abyssal Blade. If you catch out the Ember Spirit with that Abyssal, just within that short duration stun, the raw single target physical damage from Lycan can just destroy the Ember Spirit completely. He's so reliant on being mobile and not getting caught out. But with Lycan being as fast as he is, if you're not paying full attention just for a short moment, you can get caught out and then you die. You get shut down by almost Lycan alone.
Fear. Scouted out by Ice. He'll stomp him, he'll silence, he'll sleep him, and then instant jump in by Black. With the Clamp and the Drunken Haste, they just slow him down and lock him down. Very quick, very easy pick off. They have the Observer Ward up on top of the hill, which is what let them scout out the fact that Fear was there. And instantly they've got the creep wave with them. They push to the tier 2 tower. Defensive Spirit up, but I don't think Super really needs it. He's got another 2.4k gold already over on this Ember Spirit. He wants EG to come out and try and fight him, especially when he has his Aegis model. EG don't want to bar of it. Arteezy's pushing to the tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. PPD is pushing at the top lane, so they'll let it go. In fact, they're actually coming back. Fortification's going to come. Super, the man, the defense, Slider fist down. There's no Searing Chain, however. He holds on to that. Narteezy, he's got the tower. It's still a tier 2 for a tier 2 trade-off, except Beastmaster actually denies the tower.
With the ball against 4 heroes?
Come on, man, it's 46 damage. That's stuff OP.
Man, Zai's been full of surprises.
They're coming up. They're actually going high ground on this one. Super came back because he TP'd in, but he left his Spirit behind, so they've already got this tier 3 tower down to 1/3 of his life points. Maybe make it 1/4, make it maybe 1/5. It's actually going to go completely down. The Wolves are coming up. They're going to focus on the racks while up on top lane. The Familiars, they're being the tier 3 tower, but where's this initiation supposed to come? Universe to the front lines, going to side the Bison's one Black. Now we'll let it go. Witch Doctor, is there enough damage? Ice to mech. It won't keep him up. 2 heroes lost for Vici Gaming. The follow-up stunts into FY. Force up in forward. Super needs the damage with Mystic Flare. They've got Zai. The Lich Holder going to bounce back down again. Up to Fear. Over to Arteezy. Super. Too much damage. It is, however, just going to be the ulti Arteezy. He's trying to get himself free with his own ultimate. Concussive shot and the orb attacks flying out. He runs back into the engagement. Super. They have enough. The fresh Familiar's up. A large amount of damage. Freshly resummoned there by Fear to find that damage too.
Vici Gaming cannot afford to let this happen. Black got caught completely out of position there without BKB on, got roared and brought down. He needs to stand further back and not let this happen, because the moment he gets roared and he gets completely shut down by EG, even though Super has a lot of farm and had an Aegis, they need the control. And EG was just completely ahead in that fight the moment Black was down.
I don't think Black was
bought back, right?
I don't think Black was expecting.
They bought back 2 heroes as well. That's a huge loss for Vici Gaming.
Brewmaster. You see the spike come up for EG. That's a pretty shallow canyon, but it's still enough to give him an advantage. Yeah, but that side the Vice arrived at the perfect time for Prophet. Like, the perfect time. They were not ready for it at all. And because of this now, Arteezy is only 1,000 gold or so away from having his full Abyssal Blade up and running. 35 minutes in, where it looked a little bit off than that. And even Fear. This guy's got Shiva's Guard, Aghanims, and is building his Scythe of Vice.
I think EG has the solution in this game. I believe I said earlier in the game that Ember Spirit and Elder Titan would be absolutely disgusting in the late game, but judging from how much farm EG are getting on their heroes and how they're distributing it across the lineup, I'm not even sure anymore for Vici Gaming in a very late game scenario here. Just, first of all, as mentioned earlier, they can play the split push, but when you see a team fight like that and see the raw damage output EG has, one small misstep from Vici Gaming in the late game, they just flat out lose the fight. EG has so much focus fire, and if they catch either Black or Super in the raw or with the Hex and bring them down, I think the fight is theirs from then on.
You see how Super's trying to get around this? He's starting up at a Lincoln Sphere, I assume. It could still be like a path to a Skadi, but the assumption would be a Lincoln Sphere to try and protect him from that kind of initiation.
It's just No, I don't know if that's good enough here. There's so many things to break that Linken's with. Paralyzing Cask, Grave Chill, Soul Assumption, Orchid, Hex, Sprout.
Vici are coming again, man.
There's plenty of things, yeah.
They are going to try and go in, but
pressure here.
Look at the new item now coming up on Zai. It's a level 2 Raw with an Aghanims upgrade now. The pressure is there. The push on the top lane from the Prophet was enough, and again, they've actually got wolves and birds pushing down the bottom lane. The creatures are turning against VG.
Check out Fear's armor.
What is it? What's he up to? Okay, 50 armor on a Visage.
He had 60 when Arteezy was next to him because of the 2 auras. I think that might be the highest armor I've ever seen on a hero.
It really does get to a point though where it's
60 armor.
Is it really going to make that much of a difference?
That's hard to cut through.
True. But then you have Ice.
60 armor. What's that damage reduction? 78%. Okay. Of course, he's going to lose quite a bit of it from Grave Chill, but... Oh, sorry, when Gravekeeper's Cloak runs out, but still. These heroes on EG are so incredibly tanky. And I mean, it's great that you have an Ember Spirit doing heavy physical damage with the Sleight of Fist, and of course some Pure as well from the Battle Fury, but... The amount of armor that EG's lineup has in these teamfights, Super will have to, even when he has a second Battle Fury or a second Daedalus, he's going to need multiple Sleights of Fist, and I just don't know if there's time for it.
That's why I'm actually wondering if the Linken Sphere is not the best choice here. Like you would be looking at a damage dealing item, because by the time he finishes up a Linken Sphere, actually, even if he does go for a Skadi, like you finish both of these things up, and you still need more time to find yourself your damage out. But Zai, he was too far away. Just too far away.
Now, FY is in a pretty peculiar position here. He's
got Force off Ghost Scepter as well as a TP scroll. He should be okay. But again, Vici Gaming, they have to look behind themselves. I almost think that right now Super needs BTs. He needs everything on this hero already to deal with the amount of pressure EG are applying.
This map is very difficult to control right now for Vici Gaming, because their only really good wave clear right now with their lineup is the Ember Spirit. Sure, you've got Clap and you've got Astral Spirit, but it's not enough, and it takes too long. And when there's constantly 3 lanes being pushed out by EG, you will inevitably have 1 or 2 heroes on the defensive. And I agree completely. I think Super in this game should have gone full Glass Cannon, just all in damage. It's not...
There's no real choice. There's no real choice. But then again, at the same time, like if they were on the defense and they thought that EG were going to try and force high ground, then the Glass Cannon build would probably work. But with the way they're playing this game, like they still want to be the ones who set the terms in this battle. And because of that, they need to have stayability when they go in. But then you could just build a BKB or something along those lines.
I don't think BKB is useful at all, though. He's going to get Abyssal through it, he's going to get Roared through it. If he's not perfect on the timing, he's going to get Hexed before it. And honestly, if any of those things even hit Super, he's gonna die. They can't protect him, even with a Brewmaster Split. Just the transformation time for Black to get into the 3 Brewlings, he's gonna die during that. Like, the single target damage from EG is completely off the charts. Medallion, Triple Familiar, level 16. Death Ward, level 2, soon to be level 3. Nature's Prophet's gonna start getting damage items. Arteezy has 400 damage per hit with minus armor. And you've got Beastmaster Aura. Like, these teamfights, Vici Gaming, I think, are realizing at this point that they're on the back foot.
Yeah. No, they are, man. They need something around this. Actually, if we go to the other point with this, maybe it'd even be Scythe the Vice. Maybe it's initiation coming out from Super. He's not just, I just try and deal when they initiate on me. And be the one that sets the terms from the get-go. Yeah.
It's still the same innate problem that they won't have enough damage then.
Correct.
I think out of all the options he has with this Ultimate Orb, I think the Skadi is the best choice, because that's the one that gives the most damage, right? But
yeah.
I feel like neither of the build-ups with Ultimate Orb are really worth it here. Let's see what he is going to get.
He bought Linken's. It's a
Linken's. Yeah.
There's protection for now.
Well, let's see if it's going to work. I'm quite skeptical about this right now. I feel like it gives EG either, depending on how they look at it, either more time or maybe even the option to try and go for a fight.
Maybe. For now, well, it's up to Vici Gaming how they approach this. They've got 5 heroes pretty well grouped up on the bottom lane. Again, Super forced to TP back to do the defense jobs. He does leave a Spirit in the bottom lane, so if he wants to hang around just to finish up the second wave, he can do so and then just jump straight back out again. And in fact, he does do that. Where's your jump? Not coming just yet. But the Vici Gaming guys are pretty grouped up. And what do we got coming out? There's still that high percent of Black just sitting on the courier. He spent his 2k gold, but he can't finish his Assault Cuirass yet. He's still just that little bit short. And it will cost him his buyback if he wants to complete it, like, in a couple hundred.
He has slowed down a lot compared to how fast his Blink Dagger was, and the Vlad's came out fairly early too. He's not keeping up with the pace of the other farming heroes here, and mainly even like the Vici of Fear has 200 CS.
Look at the amount of money on the other Titan. He just got his Aghanim Scepter. Yeah, she got the 3k for it too.
Is he going to get that?
Yeah,
yeah.
He has a 3k with a point booster.
I would love to see this in play. This is the first time I see this item even used on the Elder Titan since the
You can imagine how great it's going to be up against a hero like a Lycan.
I guess their entire lineup. Okay, I guess the disarm would only work on heroes, so you can't disarm the familiars, you can't disarm the Death Ward. That would be kind of interesting. And that's another problem that's coming Vici's way, because the PPD is getting a lot of farm in this safe lane. He's now up to 3k gold. The Axe Death Ward is not far off, and I think it is going to be his item of choice. Oh, Roshan again.
Yeah, they're being quick. PPD already down half his life points. FY wants to keep this pressure on him and keep him distracted so the rest of VG can do their work. So the cheese is down. The Aegis model will be taken by Super. The Wolves are also hovering around. Black is the man that holds onto the cheese for now. But he's got enough money that can finally buy this Assault Cuirass of his. And with the cheese's extra insurance, he might feel that is enough.
He's still going to die if he gets roared.
True. That's very, very true.
And it's kind of crazy to think about because he has 40 armor, right? He has 40 armor, 2,000 health.
Oh, FY's in trouble.
He's still going to get burst
He's
down.
got Rod, the Lycan. He comes in his wolf form Arteezy, the Ghost Scepter, making it impossible to actually attack the FY. He'll try and actually slow him down with the concussive shot. But that wolf is just way too fast for him. But I'm still very skeptical about how well EG can force high ground here. That's the only real problem I'm seeing still with that lineup.
Well, the question is, do they have to? Because with Ice going for the item build he has so far, and with Blacknut, he is also, you know, the build Capitalist has been talking about quite a bit with going for Abyssal Blade and the Brewmaster and turning him into like a late gamer instead of just an aura carrier. I think it's a good choice here for Vici Gaming to go for. Ember Spirit is not going to be enough damage, I think. And with Ice going full utility, well, who else is going to do it? Are you going to get Mask of Madness MKB on your Lich, or Black has to get damage?
There really is no other choice for him. But then again, there might be other options that he just prefers. The fact we just have a no Aghanim Scepter Brewmaster kind of feels a little dodgy.
It's been way less popular. I don't think it's been picked up this event at all. All the Brewmasters, and there's been plenty of games, have been grabbing the
I think only one comes to my memory for it. There was one that got Nags. Yeah, there was definitely one
game. Yeah, that's true. I think that was really early in the tournament, on day one. But yeah, this Vlad's Assault Cuirass has kind of been...
They're coming again. They got a big rune. They got a DD on the Super. This may be enough, especially when Zayt's called out. Black jumps in, and he instantly splits.
Whoa.
Well, that's commitment. The gem's on the deck. I think he wants more. The Brewlings will come up. But who is really here? They just want the racks. If they can bring down this racks, and they will, even the fortification, it has to come up right now. Super is going to shred this apart. And anyone that comes in close...
Here, they're going to get crushed. Buyback from Zai. They have to get the hell out of here right now.
Sleight of fist. There's your spirit away. Tizuki silenced up. They just took the range racks. But Super, he's coming back in. He's got Frost Armor and half a second left. Or half a second left. 5 seconds left over on this DD rune of his. They bring down one of the spirits, but the Rax remains alive. Super, you'll get one swipe. No, he won't even get that. The ball stands on the high ground. Look at his movement speed. It just doesn't exist. While on bottom lane, the tier 3 tower is being attacked. Universe just put some pressure down there. And it's going in a long way. And they have to back up. The Super's now at 5.5k gold. The TP from FY will come back to defend this. Even he's walking around with 3.2k. And I'm wondering if that's also the starting of... I'm not quite sure about saying this, but an E-Blade coming out from the Skywrath Mage. Because it doesn't really help you anymore. You can't E-Blade just yourself.
That would be a very, very good choice. I hope for Vici Gaming that FY buys that. That's the best possible item he can get. Not for aggressive purposes, but for defensive ones. The moment one of his targets or one of his allies gets hexed or roared, you just E-Blade
It is?
them.
It's an E-Blade.
This is a very, very good thought here from FY, and a great way of dealing with the pressure EG can put on. It would be nice to know whether he's getting it aggressively or defensively, but I'd like to think that it's mainly for the second reason. There's the Skadi coming out as well for Super. So another like hybrid item. I don't want to call this strictly defensive, but once again, is this really enough damage?
I'm not sure it is, but right now I think VG Gaming are only looking for stability so they can take the ranks. Like, if they can push him towards the front line, he soaks up a hell of a lot. Like, this Aegis Immortal, it's not going to last forever. He's already gone through, basically, 3 minutes and 50 seconds, and a Daedalus coming in for Arteezy?
This is a very unusual item to get on Lycan because he already has critical chance in the shapeshift.
Yeah, you get something more like a Monkey King bar, or like you still have your high damage and then you get like an extra bash chance.
Well, now he has a really high crit chance, right? But of course you can't crit twice on the same attack, so there's diminishing returns on that. But still, this might be a first, almost.
10,055 crit onto that neutral.
1,055. 10,000 is...
Sorry, yeah, 1,050. Hey! Woo! He's not that good.
Then he would be one-shotting heroes. Now he's two-shotting them.
I've never seen a crit that high.
But yeah, it's really interesting to see this because getting crit on heroes with built-in crit in either the transformation of Lycan or, you know, here like Wraith King, for example, with the passive crit is very unusual because you feel like it's not enough value since you already have a crit. But the idea here for Arteezy, I guess, is that if he can more reliably know whether he can bring a target down or not, and it might just mathematically still be a better choice than, for example, an MKB, which, well, no one on Vici Gaming is getting any sort of evasion, so what do you need it for?
The Ags is just about to be completed. It's 100 gold off for PPD, and he may not have time for this. The bottom lane's been pushed out again by these bloody birds. While up on top lane, the tier 2 tower taken out by the Brewmaster, and they know the fight's about to begin, but who's stranded? Arteezy, he doesn't actually have a TP to come back into this one. So Super will try and open up on the tier 3 tower. Black will help him up, and he's going to trigger the ulti to get there in time. The Raw goes on Black, but now he's still going to be able to get the split off. The silence, there's your ET splitter going, but the ulti out from PPD, the Mystic Flare, they're trying to stop it. Ice, 4-staffed up, he's away. The gem will still go down, now he has actually tick out. The Nature's Prophet picks him up. Arteezy the front lines. The Lich ulti will go over the Brewmaster split, also popping off. PPD going to get stunned up. The Ember not really wanting a part of this, and that paralyzing cast is causing them problems. Not to mention these resummon familiars.
And look at how much respect EG has for Vici Gaming here. Oh, is he going to make that Hex? He has cooldown on it, so no, he's not.
Now they're out.
They were 5 against 3 there, and they didn't pursue, right? They still knew that Vici had the turnaround potential here, so a lot of respect coming out from Evil Geniuses here, but they do hold their base. The tower lost half its health, and they did not have a glyph there, so I think overall that's a pretty good hold.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure EG are going to be very comfortable with that one. At the same time, Vici Gaming, they used the Aegis thing. They at least got something out of Super here. And Super's now walking around with 3,000 gold over on him. Like, these items are still going to keep coming in for the Ember Spirit. His damage is going to continue to increase. And PPD, whoop, there's a jump out. Back to the defensive Spirit. That's all the way back at the tier 3 tower. He's taking no chances whatsoever.
And PPD is going to buy up his Ags now. He has the Curry in the base at the spot.
He doesn't have the money anymore, does he?
He has on it.
Okay.
So he could buy it right now. He's still hesitating. Not sure if he wants to save for buyback.
Well, if this split push doesn't work, he might have to. Now, the tier 2 tower in the middle lane is going to go down.
They're going to back off. I'm pretty sure he'll buy it now. He might have just been focused on the fight.
That was actually really smart by EG. They realized that there was still potential to VG Gaming. If they fought on 5v5, then it would have caused some problems. So what they did is they added pressure towards the top lane with two heroes and forced 2 heroes from VG Gaming to actually rotate up. And then they just looped themselves around. If that ulti was actually with a Witch Doctor Ags upgrade, like if they only had time for 100 more gold, or if he sold his wand or something along those lines to get the Aghanim Scepter in that last fight, that would have been a very different engagement.
There's another thing to keep in mind too. How many things do Vici Gaming have to stop that ultimate? They have the Skywrath Silence, which will probably be used earlier on in the fight, because PPD will be patient and just wait for the fight to develop.
Sleight of Fist here in Chains, looking your best.
Chains is an 8-second cooldown, so if that's used, he will get a full duration ultimate off. Then we've got Chain Frost.
Yep, that's an instant stun as well.
But Ice Ice does not go for a Hex, so they don't have that. They don't have any Orchid. And then finally they have Black with of course the Cyclone or the Boulder Toss, but he's generally the target of the Primal Roar. So Vici Gaming needs to be very careful with this, and I don't think they realize the Ags is up just yet since it's a new purchase and he didn't go through any dire wards.
He used it on the top lane. He had it when they fought on the top lane.
No,
that splitter was actually the Ag Scepter.
Oh yeah, but the one for Witch Doctor.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that one hasn't been spotted at all.
That's completely new, and I like this a lot from EG. They just want to fight. They feel like they're ahead. The lanes are fairly pushed out.
Blink Raw, PPD is going to come in. No Malediction. He's just going to throw the ulti out. And Super, he got hexed up. Universe came in from behind Zai. He's already dropped down, however. There's a 1-for-1 trade-off. There's your buyback coming from the Ember. Straight back in the fight. Fear down a half his side points. Here comes the ET Splitter. Super, he's alive only just. He got E-bladed up by FY. It bought him space for another Sleight of Fist. He's still on the run. Spirit away. The attack is not enough. The Spirits are back. back, and so is Black onto Arteezy. The side of fist, the lid Charlie bouncing on the universe. Where is the bounce back up to Arteezy? It's still not up yet. Arteezy stands his ground. He'll go down. Super survived. PPD. He's in so much trouble. It's a double kill for Fenrir.
FY just saved the game.
He literally did.
He really just saved the game. What an absolute boss play coming out from FY. And that pickup, if you weren't certain whether it was going to be good or not,
Lich as well.
If you weren't sure, I mean, they apparently think it's pretty good.
Well,
These supports are filthy rich.
This is a huge opening for them. The buybacks, there's only one left on Nature's Prophet. The Lycan buys back now, but they just ping out and say, well, why should we fight this? Why should we go high ground? The mid lane's already pushing in, and we can go for Roshan. We'll take another Aegis and Cheese. The top lane might be a bit of a problem here. Ember, he does have a TP score, so he can leave a spirit, but it'll be Fenrir. Fenrir will go back and just push the creep wave back out again. But this is going to be a very quick and easy Roshan. A new Aegis to go into the Ember Spirit as well, making the next fight from Vici Gaming insanely scary. And Black, like he's got the gem on him at the moment. Who's going to take the cheese here? Yeah, he passed it over. He's got 6.5k gold on this Brewmaster. If you want Cap's Abyssal Blade over on Brewmaster, you might be able to get it. But I don't know if it's even needed anymore.
I think it is. That fight when they only won that fight because of the buyback.
True.
Like, if that happens again, they're going to get crushed.
Yeah.
They invested more into the fight than EG did, and that's why they won it. But they almost lost it even then. So,
but you just look at their item builds.
Very careful.
Like the item builds is purely focused around stopping the physical DPS coming into them. Like with the supports having the double E blades, they can basically force EG to go from target to target. The only thing they can't affect is obviously the Death Ward. Okay, there goes Creep Wave up on top. They can't affect the Death Ward, but they can definitely stop Lycan from, with all the damage he's got, he actually does nothing during the engagements with the way they built.
I think maybe Black should get a refresher here, to be honest. These fights are long. In the last fight, he came out a split, and he almost got finished off at the end. I think they, once again, because of the buyback, they won the fight, but I'm a little bit split on this because I think it's hard, no pun intended, by the way, if he gets the refresher so he has 2 primal splits, then it doesn't solve the immediate problem, which is when a target gets focused down and gets killed really fast, can they actually save him? But they have the 2 E-Blades for that, so I think either he gets the damage so that they can lock down and just kill off a target themselves, or he gets the split so that the fight gets significantly long enough for Super to actually kill him off on his own, and then Black is just providing so much control together with the double E-Blade. Well, he needs to make a decision. He's got 7,500 buys something.
EG's got to come back right now. Everyone's got their TPs to arrive back at base, but Black already goes high ground. Forces the fortification out. This is really early on. This is really, really early because the rest of the wave hasn't arrived yet. Super comes in, Sleight of Fist mops up most of the life points of the creep wave. Not all of it, however, and the Wrath of Nature takes away a lot of his. While on bottom lane, you've still got the pressure being applied by Universe. And man, they almost got him. The Roar goes on Black, but there's your first E-Blade being used. Black, 4-staff down. He needs a split. Secondary E-Blade. They're trying to keep him up, but now Black, he can't get the split up in time. 103 seconds on the sideline. The tier 3 tower still down, though. Ice. Where's your Death Ward damage? It's minimal and actually non-existent. While the bottom lane, the tier 3 tower is gone here. Black comes back to defend this. That's why he buys back in. He did buy BTs as well, so he can defend this and then come and join the rest of the team.
Very expensive here for Black, having to buy back and buy the BOTs to rejoin the fight here. This means he doesn't get the next item he was looking at. He used 4,000 gold on buying back and getting those BOTs.
If they can take the next fight, it's worth it, because every single ultimate for EG is currently down.
Yeah, that's a good
Even
point.
the Lycan form is down for 14 seconds, and the BKB for his is also down. He'll probably have no space to get both of these up. The Super jumps in, Universe, concussive shot, and the Mystic Flame with the clap. Brewmaster split's going to work. The buyback comes out from Universe already. Fear, he's trapped in health at the moment. The Familiars, I can't find a target to actually focus on. He's lost all 3 of them. Super's brought him down. Fear trying to retreat out here. Super stunned up, hexed up. They might have enough damage there. Again, it's your E-Blade. Binds the space. Another Sleight of Fist damage with the stomp. Puts him into the sleep. Fenrir being sprouted up. Ice. There's your Abyssal Blade going to work from Arteezy. He needs an opening, but the Lich Ultimate. Too much damage. Arteezy has to foul Fenrir. Soul Sunshine damage comes in. Ends the killing spree, but Universe TP's out. It's just evaporates what was his life. The Death Ward goes again. The backup comes from Vici Gaming. A Sleight of Fist. Zai still low. This melee racks dropping to 300 life points. Fear, concussive shot with the spirit out. Super 4-star Finn. He'll go for the Sleight of Fist. Fear, not dead yet. 64 life points. They can't finish the job. Now that orb, it will do it. The melee racks will go down. Fear, it's a tier 4 tower death for him. The Familiars are back up again. A good drop. 3's done. EG's split though. Splits down the middle. There's your clap going. They got PPD. They slice the Beastmaster in two with a bread knife. It'll be the melee gone. The range racks will follow. Already Black is rotating in towards the mid, and I don't see any kind of collateral coming out. Vici Gaming have decimated the top, and they're going to take the mid as well.
Do they have any buybacks?
At this point, not a single iota.
It's a full minute they have to just destroy tier 4s, and the Thornier. Arteezy needs to go in.
He's the only man.
1-on-4 here.
Good luck, man.
I just want to point out, this is going to be the end of the game. Vici Gaming's micro plays during these fights, the force stabs and the
Arteezy.
Absolutely
He's going
incredible.
deep. Sides. How much damage can you get? One more paw swipe. Not enough. Abyssal Blade. He'll use it. He's brought down one. The Wolf is on the hunt. The Sleight of Fist Searing Chain does control him, but now FY, it's like just kill off the tier 4 tower. Objective-based gaming. Super comes in. Good game. Well played. GG is the call. Game number 1 of the best of 3 grand final for ESL One New York will go the way of the Chinese. Vici Gaming defeating EG.
FY and Fenrir are so incredible when they're at their best. The force staffs and the ethereal blades in this game, just phenomenal play in the later portion of the mid game and the late game from these two.
Yeah, how much time did they waste of all of the cores here of EG? Like they're bouncing around trying to find their target. Even Black, that took a grand total of 10 seconds to kill him while they had 5 Furies surrounding him. And they're trying to focus Black down so he can't get the split off. Even then he dies, he buys back and BT's in. It kind of feels a little Cloud9-ish when you're able to do that kind of stuff because you're just able to make, it's worth the trade. The amount of time which you commit to killing off that hero, he then buybacks, then comes back in again. And what have you done with your life, really? Like, there's just nothing more you can give to that fight. You're getting kited inside your own base.
So well. Well, it's pretty amazing to watch here how Arteezy, even though he had so incredibly much farm, he even had auras helping him out. They had, like, the physical damage output of EG was through the roof, but that doesn't matter if you can't hit your targets. And wow, this is some of the most. This might be the most impressive support performance I've seen in 2014. Maybe
Agreed.
outside of some of the games at TI4. This was just.
But please tell me we had both these
watch.
guys on the man of the match, like the man of the series, the man of the event kind of thing, like the MVP. Tell me we had them on the website. Because if they're not, we've made a serious mistake. Both of these players should be. They're FY. The hilarious thing is, too, even in the drafting phase, they banned out against him. They didn't want him to have, like, these primary core heroes that he's just, like, controlled them with so, like, time and time again. And then you give him, like, the Skywrath Mage, the hero which some would say is slightly overrated. And then he picks it up, and they got finally through, and it wasn't even his killing potential. It was literally just their way. So yeah, we're going to be having, we're going to be jumping over. We'll pass it over.